Okay, some quick tips in Rhino. You can select a object, use the arrow keys to nudge, control arrow keys for micro nudge, shift arrow keys for coarse nudge. Now you can grab this object, but you can see how it snaps into points automatically, even to an object, its previous position. But if you want to, you can just hold it in the Alt key, and that's your snap override. So now if you grab an arrow, you can, of course, move it. Again, hold your Alt key to override the snaps. If you click on it, I can move it up like by 2 units. Okay, and you click on a scale handle, I can make it wide by 2 units. Click on a rotation handle, I can rotate by 45, and you just right-click your mouse button outside of that box, and that's the same as pressing enter if for some reason you don't want to press enter. Now, right here is a menu, okay, for the gumball handle. These ones with the squares are scale handles. These are rotation handles with the curves there. That's your plane, so you can move it along a given plane. I don't know if you can change the orientation of that plane, but but you go into any given viewport, the plane aligns to that viewport. So in any event, but yeah, this little circle here is actually, little circle here is, actually a little pop-up menu. Okay, so you can relocate the gumball. So I mean, I noticed it's notice what it's asking you over here. Just select defaults. Okay, that located it on the plane, instead of on the object. Okay, but if you go, clear your project filter, oops. You don't have to worry about it, and you just right click to accept the defaults, because I could have defined the axis for it, that's what it was asking me. So anyway, that's one way to relocate it. Could select the midpoint option, okay, and then right click. So anyway, so that allows you to relocate the gumball, and then of course you can reset it to its original default location. Now of course in Rhino, like I said, we got all these snaps turned on here, but and oh, by the way, if you're in the process of doing something, you just I'm holding my left mouse button, but if I right click, it'll release it and won't modify it. I think some other programs kind of do that. Again, but if you wanted to disable the snaps, I could just disable them. Okay, so if they get in your way, but again, pressing the Alt key is probably the best. Again, you can grab that little origin point and kind of move it around too, by the way. But we're still kind of locking into a snap somewhere. As you see, it's kind of a coarse because it's trying to keep it within either X or Y here is what it's sort of doing, so even though I'm grabbing it by the origin and I can move it in any direction, it's still kind of clicking into it, to like an angle mode or whatnot. So But again, just hit right mouse button. At any rate, you can, unclick disable. Now I can take, one of these snaps like tangent, okay, and right click it, and it'll toggle between that being the only one selected, and then I can right click it again and toggle it back to the previous state. Now that can get messed up though if you make more than one change, but it is a toggle. Just keep that in mind. Let's see. You do have your typical grid snaps, but almost never use that. Now ortho, it's probably one of the reasons why, we're not in ortho mode anymore, so it's not really attempting to snap. We're still snapping though because of our deal. Again, hold the Alt key. Now I can smoothly move it around, but again, I got ortho set to to where it's incremental. I mean, it's angled ortho, so it's not the straight orthogonal. Have like a 15 or 30 degree increment, something like that. Probably 15 degree. Oh, and by the way, in contrast to SolidWorks, this is how a fucking zoom should work. How a pan command should work in 3D. No matter what I do, I don't ever lose control of the orientation of this. It never, ever gets out of control, no matter what. I mean, this is just fucking retarded that SolidWorks doesn't do that. And I don't even think Solid Edge does, but AutoCAD does. So it can be configured to work this way, or the retarded way. And this program will do it too. You do have that mode available, that retarded mode that they use. But again, I almost never use it. There's sometimes it comes in handy, but almost never. By the way, the middle mouse button, I got it set up to go into pan mode, but really if you just hold shift and press the right mouse button, it acts as a pan key, by the way. So I got it, it's pretty cool. Okay, now, like I need to remind you of this, when you're drawing, if you press tab, you can constrain it in a given direction. I use that damn thing all the time. Now if you hold control, okay, and click, it puts you into what they call elevator mode. So you can see what's going on down here. I'm actually drawing in a different plane, but if I were to click a point right now, you can see it would still snap to that, this base plane. But that's why I gotta hold my control key and then click, and then I can elevate it. So it's just, useful for drawing in perspective view, if you do that. And I hardly ever use this key, believe it or not. So I had to look it up to remember how to do it. Now I have it set to right now to where lines don't show up in the viewport, and you can change that. I forgot how, but you can change that. I used to toggle between that a lot, but you can see it's still over here, the object I just drew. Now when selecting faces, you can select an object. If you hold control and shift, you can select faces, or sometimes, oops, you can select various edges and so forth if you want to. So, and the gumball, okay, when dragging, if you hold Alt, it'll actually create a copy. Well, or if you, I guess if you tap Alt, yeah, if you tap Alt, it'll create a copy. So don't hold it, just tap it. So just tap it, and you saw that plus sign. When I tapped it, see that plus sign by the cursor? If I tap it again, it goes away. So it tells you you're making a copy or not, just like CorelDRAW. And of course, I don't need to remind myself of this, but if you enter a number like I just did there, I entered 2, you know, that constrains your line. So, like, let's say I wanted to align it with that, I can do that. And enter 5. And AutoCAD does something like this, but again, it's a little awkward, and it's okay how it works, but it's just a little awkward how it works. I would prefer it here in Rhino, you know, being able to enter this. It just makes it real quick to type and then click. So, okay, now there is something here, you know, if you enable it, called Smart Track, which is a lot like features you find in AutoCAD. So, you know, using it here in 3D mode, you know, at first it appears to be, you know, okay, you got these projected lines, alright, but, you know, if I select a point there, you know, it kind of remembers that point, so I can, you know, select along at least this angle from it, but remember this is a 3D point. So I could go, you know, enable project just to keep it to this plane if I wanted to. So, you know, that'll draw it kind of like you see. It's a little awkward to use. That's why I don't really use it much, so I hadn't really gotten much skill together, but I know you can, like, select that point and have it, you know, have it do a reference between those 2 points, so, you know, you can kind of see what's going on. And this may be more useful in 2D mode than it is here. Let's try it. So, you know, I got that, so it's allowing me to do, you know, a combination of projections. It's giving me a perpendicular, so that's pretty cool. Okay, you see how I just went into parallel mode right there? You know, although I don't know if I really am in parallel mode though, because this is, you know, drawn orthogonally, so it's constrained. But anyway, you know, the point is it takes some getting used to, but I mean, it could be useful, because I know it's a very useful tool, and, you know, in SolidWorks and AutoCAD and so forth. So it's just I haven't gotten used to it yet, but I, you know, never used this feature much in the past. I'll go ahead and erase these things. Well, actually, let me save this thing. Save it under job training. Okay. Now, let's look at Smart Track again. You know, I can draw a line like this, okay, and I can choose that, okay, and that, you know, gives me an orthogonal to that angle. Now, you know, I can start like the midpoint here, okay, and select that point, alright, and that gives me an inference to the midpoint. So I can draw here and, you know, put it there and then do an inference to that. So, and conclude my line like that. So, you know, it can be quite useful. Okay, what else is kind of nice about Smart Track? You know, is that I can actually pre-activate okay, it's a little tricky because that's why I had to try to filter this out. I can pre-activate certain points. Oh shit, I can't. Oh, see, now I lost it. You know, it's giving me a point on. If you cross over it again, you know, you can eliminate it, but I can't select the center point of the circle. This thing just really confused. That's what I'm saying. It's got so many quirks to it that that's why I just don't really use it. But you know, you can pre-select before you even start drawing a line. Is the whole point I'm making, and you know, and have an inference to different objects. You know, this little video there shows them pre-selecting the center of the circle, but you know, you really can't honestly do that. Not with so many snaps selected, and you know, so I'd have to have just like endpoint and center selected. But anyway, it's still pretty cool. And two, you know, if you're drawing a line, if you just press Control at a given place, you can just place them out in free space, you know, to start your line too. So that's another option. Okay, and also, you know, if you wanted to draw like a curve to a curve, you know, you can select that, and you can see that on tan. You know, that tells you you're on tangent. So you know, from that, so you know, I could like draw a curve, and I'm on tangent right now. So you know, that means it'll have tangency alignment between these two curves. Okay, and apparently, yes, you can draw parallel lines. You know, like if I start drawing a line like this, okay, and I choose this and this, you know, give me on ortho. Okay, I've turned ortho off, you know, just for the sake of this, so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. What the fuck is disable on for? I mean, personally, I think this smart track is just too buggy to really use. So it just really doesn't work properly. So at least in my edition, maybe they got that solved by now. But you really can't pull a parallel line on it. At least not with a lot of fucking different settings. So I mean, I have no idea what the shit's going on with this. You're supposed to be able to select these 2 points, and it's supposed to do a parallel line, but it doesn't work. So, you know, it's just too goofy.